This Harvard Business School classic is a summary of Mintzberg's work on managerial work, originally done in the 1970s. Mintzberg's study was a really major turning point in the understanding of management and leadership, and especially because he challenged the normative, prescriptive view of managerial work by going and studying what practicing managers actually did, documenting how they spent time, and trying to understand why it was that they spent time in the ways in which they did. This reading is very important for us as a starting point in understanding managerial work and the role of management and leadership in organizations. And it also is a departure point that really illustrates the point that we'll be covering in lecture about the difference between normative theory and behavioral theory. Mintzberg starts with and contrasts his work with what are kind of received wisdom about how managers should behave on the job. And so he starts with this notion of there are these normative set of expectations. And based on his observation, so what he does is he looks at what people actually do on the job, and he then takes what they actually do in the context in which they do it and tries to develop a behavioral explanation of the why managers behave that they do. And the behavioral explanation is very important for us because it gives us a sense of what the leadership challenges are, as well as the managerial challenges. In doing the reading, I'd like you to first, before you start, just think about, as you think about the management job, what you think the 5 most important things managers do every day. And you may have some experience with this. I think what's interesting as we start to take a behavioral view on what managerial work is many people see their experience as indicative of actually they weren't very good managers, when in fact they may have done a great job given the context in which they operated. But I'd like you to start your reading by just, for yourself, what are the most important things that you would think managers might do, whether you have experience with that or not. As you're doing the reading, I'd like you to pay attention to how the organizational context in which managers work impact how they spend time. And one of the key things, and I hope you'll catch this, is that no matter what managers intend their work to be, they have some issues with what they cannot control. And in particular, one of the things they cannot control is the creation of problems. Problems are constantly arriving at managers out of their control. It takes away their ability to schedule. They really can't plan for the problems that arise. There's a lot of spontaneity in managerial work, and how people deal with that spontaneity is interesting, informative, but the very nature of the work is the context in which it occurs is important to us. Secondly, I'd really like you to pay attention to the importance of peers and superiors in the manager's everyday work and how these relationships impact their effectiveness. There's a tendency to think about managerial work as supervision of people, and it's certainly an important part of managerial work. Motivation is the first topic we're going to take up. But in terms of being effective as a manager, effective as a leader, it's just as important in how you work with peers and superiors. And we're as interested in how you motivate peers to follow through on promises, how you effectively work with superiors to get commitments of resources are an extremely important part of leadership in organization. Then we very much take the perspective that leadership's not a position in the organization, it is what you do with the managerial role in which you find yourself. So again, this reading is fundamental to what we're doing in the class. It is fundamental to really how much of modern leadership has developed. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you can kind of pull out these key points out of it.